Okay. So,
Kick them all out.
get out of here. Okay, so let's do some smooth movement before we call it a day. Because when we're gonna talk about movement syncing, it's gonna be quite a topic. So I want to save that for tomorrow. Don't want to do it the last half hour of the day. Guys, please. Let's just summon up some last focus before we call it a day. We're just gonna go for a few more minutes and then we'll call it quits. So what we're gonna do is that instead of when you hit the key, we're gonna have it so when you hold the key you move. Some of you guys have already done this, so it's probably not gonna be super exciting for you guys. But I don't know, for some people it might be nice. So let's just make a few adjustments here. First of all, having these as ints is gonna be problematic. Can someone explain to me why granular movement with integers is a bit of a problem? Yeah. Yes. Integers are not granular enough for us to be able to move smoothly because we're gonna be moving fractions of pixels every frame. So I'm gonna switch these out to floats. Now, of course, we have a bunch of fixing to do because all of our network code is using integers. Weren't we dumb? Weren't we naive? So we're gonna have to patch all of these integers out to floatigers. Floatigers! Yeah, that was on purpose. That was a joke.
Because like they will get rounded to an int either way, right? Because when STL render pixels in fractions.
No, but it's like when you read the thing, and when you read the byte.
Yeah, sure. But then when you like get the float in a client, doesn't that it's not like enough? You round it to an int before you send it.
Yeah, so Oliver is actually correct that it would work. It would work because when we're writing, if you guys were good and wrote actually integer in the template here, you would be fine because the write would convert this to an integer before writing it to the message. So then when we're reading it as an integer, it will be an integer that looks good. So it will always round the integer to the nearest float. Or yeah, it will just convert the integer to a float. Yes. And if you did something like this, not specifying the type when you hit X and Y, the write will just auto pick the template to be a float in this case. So it will write the float to the net message. And then when we try to read it as an integer, it's gonna be chaos. It's gonna be chaos. So we're just gonna be good citizens and make floats, because in the end they're as big as integers, so it doesn't really matter. So why not just express them as they are? They are floats. So why not just change everything to be a float? And hope we don't forget it somewhere. So we do it here, and then we do it here. So that should be. So that should be. Oh god, I'm so tired. My brain. There's just one monkey clapping two symbols together in my head right now, and he's doing all the work. So we patched the client, I think. No, we haven't. Here's more stuff. No, this is a server. Never mind. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, okay, there's a bunch of places. Yeah, okay. So let's just do it. So here's XY, floats. And floats. Possess player ID. Here's an ID. We don't want to change that. Here's float. Float. Okay. XY. Nothing more here that I can see. Then in here we have X float. Float. XY float. Float. Let's see. User ID. We don't want to change that. User ID. We don't want to change that.
Wait, do we change both write and read?
Both write and read. Yes.
I mean, player spawn, you assign it to an instance.
Where?
I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. Good catch. Good one.
On the left side.
Yes. Here. So here we assign a float and integer. So let's do float. There we go. I should have predicted this, but I did not. I always make them integers and then have to change everything. My bad. Yeah. Hopefully that's it. Here we pass in integers for spawn x and spawn y. Could change these, I guess, but doesn't really matter. When we're spawning, we don't want to spawn something that's like 5.5, right, guys? I'm just gonna decide that we don't want to do that. Let's compile and see what happens. Okay, so we're getting a bunch of warnings here, and it's actually nice that it's actually warning us of these conversions. So that's good. So now we can catch these errors a lot more easily. So here it seems okay. So we're converting it into a float gear. I swear I didn't do it on purpose. I'm so fucking tired. Okay, so fuck it, I'll change the float. Whatever. I tried.
So hard and got so hard.
Yeah, but in the end, I had to do it. We go. Fix those errors or warnings. Here we have a few more. Yeah, so here when we're calling in fillRect here, fillRect does expect an integer, so we're gonna have to convert these to integers. Okay, so now at least the game server seems to be the server seems to be done. Let's try it on the client then. Okay, seems like the client is up to date as well. So let's try real quick and see if it works. Man, you guys are fast with connecting. Holy fuck.
That's because I was waiting.
Okay, it seems to work for me at least. So at least I did the conversions correctly. One guy's up in the corner. Who's that? Who's the corner boy? Kill him. Okay. So, seems to work. Good. So now we have converted our play positions to floats. So now we can do some more granular movement. So instead of when I press the key, I used to jump a solid amount. I'm instead just gonna do N key down, and then like you guys very well pointed out, we have to multiply this by N delta time. Okay, so let's see what happens. So now when I hit space, there we go, I'm moving. So now I'm moving 32 pixels per second, which is not very fast. You guys are catching up to me. And just dancing around me like bullies. But at least it's working. You can see that the server is kind of lagging now though. You see it kind of freezes up a little bit. And that's gonna be a problem. And that's the reason why tomorrow we're gonna spend a lot of time not doing this, because this is a horrible idea. But we're gonna do it anyways because we're fucking badass. So let's just finish it up real quick. So instead of just moving in one direction, we want to move everywhere. So I'm just gonna make a speed here. Speed is. Let's not do 32. That's a bit slow. Let's do 100. And then just do float delta x, float delta y, and then if n key down, key right arrow. I guess it's just right. Yeah, I guess it's right. If right, then delta x. Whoops. Then delta x plus equals speed. If n key down, key left, then delta x minus equals speed. If n key down, key up, delta y minus equals speed. If n key down, delta y plus equals speed. Actually, what the hell am I doing? I'm a gamer. Fucking A. Whoops. A. No, wait. D. A. W. S. Okay. DOS! Alright. So then we'll just check if delta x not equals 0 or delta y not equals 0, then y x plus equals delta x times n delta time. It's not actually delta x, I just remember, but whatever. Delta y. Oops. There we go. So now we have DOS movement, and hopefully it works. Let's check it out. Run the server. Okay. Run the client. Seriously, this guy scares me. The guy up on the left. I'm scared. Wait, where am I? There I am. Okay, so now I can move around freely. Like this. I could be any one of these. Yeah, so the server probably crashed here. Yeah. So, the reason, I'm just gonna state it now, but we'll talk more about it tomorrow. The reason this is really bad is because it overloads the server. Because the server suddenly has to do a lot of work to make this work. It's receiving from every client one message per frame of their frame time, and we're gonna talk about tomorrow why that's bad. But not only that, it has to send one message to every user for every message that comes in. So it's a very big problem. It's an n to the power of n sort of problem. So that's why this is a horrible solution. As you can see now, the server has rapidly begun shutting down. You can kinda see that these guys are moving, but kinda not. The server is probably just working right now, but yeah. So, great. It works, but it doesn't work well. And tomorrow we're gonna make it work better. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. And let's take some final questions before we call it a day.
Just one request. Can you please show your control setup real quick when you're done? Thank you very much.
Yeah, so then we're talking about peer-to-peer. That's complicated. But I mean, so It Takes Two, for example, was a peer-to-peer game where there was no server. There were only two clients talking to each other. But that's very rare for that kind of programming to happen in networking. It's a million times more usual to do a server-client model. But in that case, it would be more. It wouldn't be one person owns something, and because here it's like, okay, the server kind of owns where everyone is, and then you sense that out to everyone. So if the server disagrees, he has the the server has the rule. But in a peer-to-peer system, it would be more like sort of up to the programmer which person owns what. That's kind of the way we did it in It Takes Two. Like, Cody, the player side controlling Cody, owned Cody and everything that Cody did. So they had control over that, while, the May side, the person controlling May, had control over May and everything that May interacted with. And that's very complicated. That's way more complicated to write and to network than what we are doing right now. But it's, used sometimes. Yeah, I don't think we might talk about it a little bit, but yeah, it's so unusual in the industry, so probably not something that you will run into. Okay, so great. So tomorrow, we are gonna do 2 lessons in a row, and tomorrow we're gonna talk more. We're gonna begin talking more about the movement, and then we're just gonna keep adding cool features, whatever. Maybe shooting if we have time. That would be very cool. Or some other mechanic that would be fun, and maybe do a little bit of refactoring, perhaps. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna stick around until 15 just to help people. But for you guys at home and for the recording, the lesson is over!